I'm sorry. The results are clear. You're not the child's biological father.
Victor. Believe me, he is your son!
Just don't lie to me.
I'm not lying. I have never been with anyone else since we got married. Never.
Then how? How does this happen? So our son, the boy I carried in my arms, the boy I prayed for, is not mine?
I have never been with anyone else. Not after that night. Not
Before that night, was there anyone?
We had already broken up and...
Before you caught him, that same week, did anything happen between you two?
Stella and Victor grew up on the same street. Their mothers were the kind of neighbors who borrowed pepper from each other without asking and returned it without being reminded. From the time they were 8 years old, they were inseparable. The quiet boy with the big eyes and the loud girl with the longer legs who always seemed to be running somewhere. Victor Eze was not the kind of boy anyone noticed first. He was not the loudest, not the one the other boys looked up to in the way that made girls pay attention, but he was present in the way that mattered. When Stella forgot her lunch at home, Victor shared his without being asked. When she cried because her father raised his voice at her mother, Victor sat outside her window and said nothing, just sat there so she would know she was not alone. He loved her the way quiet rivers love the land they run through, deeply, constantly, without announcement. Stella, for her part, loved Victor the way people love good weather. She enjoyed him, needed him, counted on him, but she never thought about him, not the way he thought about her. He was her person, her safe place, her best friend, and in her mind, that was where it ended. Stella had a type, and Victor Eze was not it. Emeka walked into her life when she was 19 years old during her second semester at the University of Lagos, and he wore a fitted agbada to a faculty dinner, smiling at her across the room as if she were the only person in the building. He was 28, he had a car, he smelled like cologne from a box she could not pronounce, and when he spoke, his voice carried the kind of easy confidence that made younger people feel like they had been chosen for something important just by being in his presence. Stella fell. She fell the way people fall from great heights, fast, breathless, completely unaware of what was waiting at the bottom. Victor watched. He said nothing. What was there to say? He was 20 years old, still learning to drive, still wearing shirts his mother bought for him. He had no car, no cologne. So he did what loyal people do when they cannot compete. He stayed. He stayed and he showed up and he listened to every single story Stella told him about Emeka, the places Emeka took her, the things Emeka said, the way Emeka made her feel like a woman. Victor listened to all of it with a smile that cost him something every single time. For 3 years, Stella and Emeka dated. For 3 years, Victor watched from the edge of her life and told himself that one day the story would change. Then he graduated. He got a job at a construction firm. He moved into a flat in Yaba. He bought a small car, not impressive, but his. Meanwhile, Emeka continued being Emeka, charming in public, careless in private. He cancelled plans without apology. He disappeared for days and returned with excuses wrapped in affection. Stella made herself smaller and smaller to fit inside a relationship that was never truly designed for her. She explained away his behavior to her friends, to her mother, and most of all, to herself. He is just busy, she would say. He loves me, he just has a lot going on. Victor heard these things and he ached. Not because he was jealous, well, not only because he was jealous, but because he could see what Stella refused to see. That a man who loves a woman does not make her feel like she's inconveniencing him by existing. He tried once to say something, but Stella looked at him the way you look at a child who had wandered into an adult conversation. "Victor, you don't understand relationships," she said, not unkindly. "You've never even dated anyone seriously." He did not reply. He simply filed the words away in the same place he filed everything, quietly, carefully, where they would not cause any trouble. Then one night, everything changed. Stella had decided to surprise Emeka. She had cooked his favorite, coconut rice and fried plantain, packed neatly into a cooler, and taken a taxi to his apartment in Lekki. What she found on the other side of that door was not something she could prepare a person for. There was Emeka, and there was a woman whose wrapper was carelessly draped over the couch, whose laughter died in her throat the exact moment Stella stepped into the room, whose eyes said, "I thought he told you," in the half second before she looked away. The cooler slipped from Stella's hands. She did not cry, not there. She was too stunned to cry, too proud to fall apart in front of the woman who had been in her boyfriend's apartment on a Thursday night wearing nothing but borrowed clothes. She waited until she reached her car. Then the tears came. There was only one place she could go, Victor's house. He was living alone in Yaba then. When she knocked on his door, it was almost midnight. Victor opened it and immediately knew. He did not ask questions. He simply stepped aside and let her in. She collapsed into his arms. "He cheated on me," she sobbed. Victor closed his eyes. A part of him had always known Emeka would break her heart, but knowing did not make it easier to see her in pain. He held her on the couch while she cried. He wiped her tears. He made her tea. He told her she deserved better. He told her she was strong. He told her she would be fine. But what he did not say was the one thing that had lived in his heart for years. "I love you." The rain started pouring heavily outside. Thunder shook the windows. The night felt heavy. Stella was exhausted from crying. She leaned against Victor's chest.
You've always been here.
"You've always been here," she whispered. He swallowed. "I will always be here." She lifted her head and looked at him, really looked at him. And for the first time in years, she saw not just her childhood friend. She saw a man who had never lied to her, a man who had never made her feel small, a man who loved her quietly. The room felt smaller, the air changed. Grief can do strange things to the heart. Loneliness can blur lines and comfort can turn into something else. She touched his face. Victor froze. "Stella," he whispered unsure. But she kissed him, soft first, then desperately. Maybe she wanted to forget Emeka. Maybe she wanted to feel wanted. Maybe she was tired of being the only one loving. Victor tried to pull back, but he had loved her for too long, and that night he stopped being strong. The rain kept falling, and in that small living room in Yaba, two best friends crossed a line they could never uncross.